Alexa, trigger live show. Sweet. Surprised that still works. Apparently it does. Evening, everyone. I am just going to do a quick live stream. I'm going to attempt something a little bit different. Scott talked me into going live against my better judgment, but I thought maybe I'd be able to make something productive tonight. I just finished doing a bunch of mailbag videos, and I thought maybe we could get this soldering iron out of the box. What I got was a Hakko clone, but before I do that, I got these, and I'm assuming they're an NPN transistor, but I'm not even sure. So before I go live, I wanted to grab some imagery of these BC548. I have no idea what these even are, but now I have a point of reference so I can go back into my eBay history and figure out what these things were. And hopefully label the bag. I think, well, actually, here, we can find out. Here, let's go ahead. This is my new cam rig that I've got going on, and it seems to be working out pretty good. Cheers, Armando. Cheers, Trent. We should be able to plug this in. Let's see. What does this say it is? Does it say it's an NPN transistor? What? 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 No. What? That ain't right. It would be if you had two leads shorted onto one connection. I suppose it would show up as a diode. Let's see. It does show up as an NPN. And right now, the way I have it plugged in, I have the collector into 1, the base into 2, and the emitter into 3. So there we go. That's going to be handy. Then I can go back and label my goodies. Figure out what that is. I'm also testing out the new streaming rig tonight, and with any luck, just slightly different format, but with any luck, the video should be coming through much better. This should be much higher quality than what I've streamed in the past. Even from my overhead up here, which is like potato cam, it's not very good, but with any luck, even that webcam is coming through at significantly better quality. So what we got here is a new mailbag purchase, and I'm gonna do double duty here. Here, I'll show you. Can I show you? I have the DSLR set up, and what I'm gonna do is try and take some B-roll as I do this, because what I want to, yeah, no card in camera, of course. Cheers, Ken. Good to see you, Ken. We got all the old-time subscribers here tonight. You guys have been around a long time. So I want to make a proper comparison video of this iron. So normally I would just do the B-roll and do the footage, but tonight we'll try to do both. So yeah, now we're set up. The camera is going to be rolling here. With any luck, I can do both. Yeah, it's rolling. Let's go ahead and get this thing open. Truthfully, I want to get rid of this box, because this I got from AliExpress, and it is a clone Hakko soldering station. This is the FX951 that so many people use and recommend. Sorry, I've got to do this a little bit for the B-roll camera, but the box that this arrived in truthfully stinks. And the sooner I get this out of my lab, the better I'm gonna be. So we'll get the components out. I'll capture my B-roll footage and tips, and the iron itself, and get this stinking box. Not even a single instruction. So yeah, this is what you get with a cheap clone. But if the performance is half as good as I anticipate, it will be worth it. Now, I'll show you guys. I don't need another soldering iron. I am good for soldering irons till doomsday, but I wanted to test this unit. I really did, to kind of put it through its paces and see how it works out. So what we got with it, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different tips. And we're going to have to pick out which one we think is best. And I think I've got enough B-roll. Yeah, there. I think we're good. I'm going to shut off the DSLR and then I can focus on the live show. Thank you for bearing with me through that. There we go. That should do. From here on out, I think we can play. See how this thing goes. Stinks because it's tore up, or it actually stinks? It actually smells foul. That box, it smells foul. That would be the best way I can word it. It smells like that box was in a storage facility with some water. It really has a, I don't know whether it was, it was shipped from the US, so I don't know whether it was in the southern states and went through a hurricane or what, but there's no sign of corrosion damage. Here, you can check this out. Everything is beautiful. So it's just the box. I don't know. It is what it is. So we got a stand. Right. There we go. Better view. We got a stand. And the tips themselves. So, what tip can we pick? If we go onto the microscope, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that on the top, on the right-hand side of your screen. So that's just a conical. And this is a really nice wedge, really sharp. I like that. That might be really handy for doing some ICs. And then a really, really sharp conical. And a more blunt conical. Oh, not under the microscope. There you go. And then the only one that I think is going to work for every day-to-day soldering. This is a really big wedge. Let me grab what I normally solder with. This is my Unger. Let's see if I can do it side by side. This thing, keep in mind, has a lot of miles under it. This is what I favor. There's a bunch of solder on that too, so it's kind of a little globby right now. That's the kind of tip that I favor. And this one's even worse. This one's been through. This one's it's covered in solder and ready for replacement, but still smaller than this one. But regardless, I think we're gonna make this one work. Dave Jones will be doing a sub 150 station shootout soon. And the ADS 200. I will check that out. It was actually Dave's video on this, as well as Louis Rossmann's video, that prompted me to grab one of these to see how well the clone will perform. So this is a sub $100 station. Now you can buy the non-clone version for, I think, in the neighborhood of $350. But I think it probably came off the same assembly line, but we're gonna find out. We're gonna test it. We're gonna put it through its paces and just see what it does. And these are the new style, where we don't have this. This is what I'm used to on all of my irons except for my Unger, with a ceramic heating element and a tip that just sits on it, and there's nothing wrong with them. They work fantastic. Even Dave Jones acknowledges or even favors, that they have a place in life. Lewis Rossmann doesn't quite favor this. He favors these. So we're going to give it a go. Just see. Are those T13? Yeah. The numbers are all here. There's the numbers on all of them, except for the one that I pulled out. So I don't know the first thing about these ones, so I'm just going to have to play and see how it works. And we're going to learn as we go how they work, and if they work. It slides down in. Sorry, I'm doing that off camera, but I kind of have to so I can get it close and have a look. What the? That is a truly bizarre tip. Is that even right? It is bizarre from what I'm used to, but sure enough, it seems to be seated. The cord that goes to it, oh, I like this. It is really nice, supple silicone. I think I really like that. Ooh. Yeah, positive. When it's in, it's in. Huh, interesting. And so that goes in. So I can tell you this seems flimsy. This seems flimsy at best. I put on some extra weight under that stand. Maybe it looks a little flyweight. Yeah, I don't like the stand already. I really dislike it. But as a bonus, so if all works out good, what I'll end up doing probably, because this WEP 898D, which I do love, it's a fantastic iron, but I love my Unger more. What I'll probably do is just unplug the tip here and pull it out, because I'm used to transferring tips anyway. I keep this tip here and another tip off camera on my water heater back there for doing really, really tiny stuff. I'll probably just end up using this stand. This is a third-hand stand that's on my Amazon recommended gear you can find below. I really like it because of this illumination, and I actually really like the soldering iron holder of it. It's just easy to chuck it in. It's nice and simple as compared to this, which I don't think is going to be anything even remotely resembling simple. It seems fiddly as hell to get this in there and get this seated. Maybe am I supposed to flip things around and flip this up? If only it came with instructions, but I don't think so. I don't know what this extra, I guess you can set it in and set it like that. Interesting. I like figuring this stuff out. Just kind of my metric of a product is to try and just test things out and see how it works with it blindly. But I do rather have some instructions too. But all right, let's go ahead. Really good power cord. I'll give it that. It's standard stuff. But I really do like the silicone. It's definitely a high temp silicone. Okay. Huh. What do you know? It might be alive. ADS 200 is the new Pace $219 station. Well, I would gladly give that a go, to be honest. I really would. But for the most part, I'm good. Like that Unger is more than that when it came out 20 plus years ago. But nowadays, most of the time, I'm looking for value where we can find it. and test it out and see what we can find for people like myself who may not have a lot of cash to spare on expensive gear. So $200+ is definitely reasonable if you're like very cheap if you're doing this as a day-to-day job, no question. But for the average hobbyist, $200+ is pretty expensive. So we got some numbers jumping literally all over the freaking place. That's not off to a good start. I don't know whether you caught that, but off to the side, there was definitely some puffs of smoke as the tip heated up. Let's see. Seems to have stabilized. Happy, 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 joy, joy. Let's run a bunch of cheap solder over it. I like how light the iron is. This part I like. Wow, this thing is light in the hands. It weighs nothing. It's featherweight. But does it work? On camera, Eric. On camera. Sure enough, well, we can tin the tip. And according to the screen, it's holding temperature. Oh, I did see a dip there. Here, let's hit it with a whole bunch. Let's hit it hard and see if we can suck it down. Sure enough, we can get it to bounce around a little bit. But that's okay. Let's kill it again. I want to know what that bouncing around crap was on startup. That looked a little weird. Okay, that seems much more reasonable. A little overshoot to 360 and then back down, which I don't know whether the actual reading is that close, but we could measure it. We can just get a K-type thermocouple on there, I suppose. We'll have to do it a little lower because my thermocouples don't go this high. Okay. It functions. No question. Okay. Hey, well, it's alive. It's not DOA. Hey, that's a good sign. All right. Well, so be it. What else did we get in the bag? We got a sponge, which I will never ever use because I really hate sponge. Oh my, that's special. That is about as cheap as it gets. Look at the thickness on. Now that'll blow up a little bit when you hit it with some water, but that's about as thin as thin gets. A foot? Are we missing a foot? Small. Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, there's 4 feet. All right, so that's for the iron body itself. Makes sense. Okay, yep, I can live with that. And then this change key thing that goes in like so we can change values. Okay, let's see how intuitive this is. I don't know anything about this thing, so you're learning with me. Okay, well, that's intuitive enough. Beep. A little jump around. And I don't know whether you could see that, but we did flash off some more solder. There was a change in temperature. Clearly, because it attacked some flux on the tip that wasn't attacked before. And sure enough, we are... Okay, now I'm starting to feel a little bit better about this. Now, what happens when we just randomly press buttons here? Okay. I'm going to have to go snoop some instructions to figure out what that mode did, what this 0000 mode is. Maybe no, there's no timeout on this because there's no pickup to tell that the tip's not in use. But overall, well, let's find out. Let's find out. Temp really bounces a lot. Yeah, I think it really depends. So we're getting, I'm watching it on the screen there, and we're getting bounce now. I'm just wondering how realistic that is. I can tell you on my other ones that they don't bounce around. Well, that's going to be error because it's not plugged in, but they don't bounce like that, but they honestly don't tell the truth either. Not that I'm saying that this is going to be truthful, but they don't necessarily have any form of update either. This could be just the way the code is written. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go digging. What do we got here? Can we find a board? Yeah. There's an old graphics card. I don't think that's going to be much help. Ugh, it's ugly. But well, here. Let's just see what happens under some wicking. Let's move the iron. Catch up on the chat real quick. It's overshooting 150 degrees. No, I didn't see that. But maybe I'll watch the replay. Maybe caught something. Right now we're happily holding 400. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. One of these things, right? We're just gonna have to play with it. Again, it is what it is, right? When you have an update like that, it's tough to say how realistic it truly is. What should we do? What should we do? Should we try it with C920? Yeah, I'm not gonna try and get the microscope set up. So let's try these caps. Let's give them a little goopy. I should have my fan set up. Let me get that out. Because this is gonna, when you're using flux, you should probably, like, I just have one of these cheapy fume extractors. It's not the best, but it's better than nothing. It truthfully is. Alright, let's see. I really hate this stand. I'm gonna tell you, check this out. I just went to get this out of here, and it's a wrestling match to get this thing out of here. I absolutely, I hate it. It's a really heavy, nicely built, but the way that this goes in there, if you lift the iron up and pull, you can't get it out because it's stuck on this wire. You have to push down and withdraw it, and it comes out. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. That thing is not going to last on the bench, but we'll see. Let's try to be on. Don't need stand. Let's see what happens. Actually, let's just go in with the solder sucker. It's 400, so it should have no problem pulling through these. Am I on camera? Kinda. Now this is probably a 4-layer board, so it's probably not going to be the easiest thing to pull from, but that has no problem heating that. Well, no, it does. Let's see. Is it just new tip? Operator error. But that didn't seem. Here, let's try again. Let's add some fresh 60/40 on both of these, and then we'll hit them. Okay, yeah, it pulled it through. That's a challenge for any iron, but it pulled it through. I can see a gap around it. It's impossible for me to do on camera. Nope. That did not work out well for that. I'm going to have to troubleshoot this for temperature wise and see that. Well, there we go. Let's try something different. Let's warm up the other iron. Before I go any further, let me fire up the web and just see. So I know it's not under the microscope, so you guys can't see that well, but I hit both of those pretty good. And I thought it withdrew the solder, and then I hit it with the iron and tried to pull, and it didn't pull through. So let's see. Is it the iron? Or is it the operator just not used to this particular iron? Which is a lot of the battle when you're getting used to things. Or are we on bloody Fahrenheit? I don't think we are. I'm pretty sure that popped up on Celsius by how that flashes off the tip. Or is it this solder that I never use? It's not a lot of heat transfer. Let's go back to what I know. Once the other iron gets warm, let's hit it. Let's hit it. No, she's still cold. So it already says, this is the thing, you got to take things with a grain of salt. The web's up, I run it at 450, wide open. This thing will self-destruct if you let it sit there too long. But at 450 it has enough grunt to just about do anything, except for delicate traces. You got to be a little careful. See if the number spread changes by sucking it with a sponge. Yeah, I don't have any water handy here, Cliff. Cool. Restore the number sequence. Cool. Restore number sequence time seems closer together during use. Oh, okay, good. Well, it's possible, but it did fail to desolder that, so let's get the... I didn't clean the tip properly either, but let's see. Let's go with what we know. Oh, crap. This one's shorter. This one's shorter on the cordage. Alright, let's do the same thing. Now I got a proper mess on the workbench. Let's do the same thing. Let's hit it with some 6040 at a significant temperature. Okay, there is one hell of a ground plane there. I can tell by the way this is acting. Yeah. There, we got a big... Where's my other solder sucker? That could be it too. See how that's solidified already? There's one hell of a ground plane on there. Alright. Come on. Tin. Hit it. Yeah, it wasn't the iron. I just picked the worst possible live stream example in history. Because even my monster is struggling with this. Can you even see that? Nope. No. Yeah. Even my monster here at 450C is struggling with it. Ouch. I can't do that on camera. Yeah, I can draw them out. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Even the beast isn't touching that. Oh, we might have to get the Unger out. It will desolder anything much better than the cheapie. So, that was a really, really bad example. Let's not judge on that, because even the one that I use every day struggled. What else can we grab? Let's find something a little bit more reasonable. What can we do? Ooh. Okay. Can we switch tips and go to something a little bit more fine and do something tiny? like 0805. That would be fun. Let's do that. Oh yeah, I always hear Lewis's beep when he pulls the tip out. How does he do this? The iron seems clever enough to realize when you're not plugged in. Well, before we do that, we should figure out how to remove this. 2 little squeezies. They went in easy enough. Oh yeah, they come out, not a problem. Terminals should be cold, and they are. So we should be able to... Yeah, no, it's not too bad. We can handle that. Slide that in. All the way in. There. Handy dandy. Clip. 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 Yeah, that's not the nicest. Oh, there. That's not the worst either. Okay. This'll be it. Fire it up. Let's see what we get. Do we start climbing in temperature? We do. Let's see if it does anything as janky as it did earlier. Looks, yeah, a little bit of bouncy. Alright. So, let's let that stabilize a second. Cheers, Cliff. Cheers to Kitchener. You're just up the road. Alright, well, so be it. It's stable. What happens? Oh, I really hate this stand. Yeah, that's not gonna stay. Again, I'm gonna give this thing a run for its money over time, and we'll see. We'll see what it does, and see what we think. Let's move some stuff. Let's see. What happens? What happens if we go under the hood, so to speak? Boom. Yeah. That is an 0805 resistor soldered onto a through-hole board, which again, this is the worst example possible in history, but whatever. Let's see if we can just touch up a corner on it without causing all kinds of chaos. We're still dialed in at 400. These already have too much solder and the board's not fastened down. Let's fix that. Let's see. So far, I don't know. We're gonna find out. So this is the ridiculous tiny tip. And it is going into a through hole, so it's got to heat down through. That's where the solder is going down through the hole, which again is the worst example possible. But sure enough, it is able to solder. You can't see it, it's off screen, but the iron's holding temperature, but I would expect better from that. What happens here? Let's hit it. Let's hit it with a little flux and see what happens with a little bit of wick, just for giggles. And just by feel, this is really hard to get across on camera, but by feel, I'm saying this thing is cold. But again, this is a tiny tip, right? This is not a good tip. Well, okay, maybe it's not cold. That had no problem wicking that right up from the through hole in the board below this component. If this was strictly SMD, it would be a lot simpler. Yeah, and that's not having as much luck pulling it up through, but it pulled it up through, sure enough. It's not an empty hole, but okay, well, I'm gonna call this inconclusive at this stage. I'm gonna call this to be determined. I'm gonna have to say, we gotta put this thing through its paces and see how it goes. I don't know whether this live stream's of any value, guys. As I have more questions than answers at this stage. But here. Yeah, sure enough, it did the business. It did the business on there. Better than what I thought, actually, now that I'm looking at it a little closer. Considering it wicked the solder up through from the bottom of that board. And there was a pile. This is a board that I used, if you watched my T962 reflow oven video, I reflowed this twice. So there's that much. Oh, there you go. That much on the bottom, and there's that much because we pulled it right up through with just some wick. So that takes a fair bit of heat to do that with that tiny tip. Okay, all right. Again, not a good. It's a completely useless evaluation, but for somebody who's been soldering for a few years, you'll probably appreciate the physics there, and that there's potential. I need to get some through-hole components here and put this thing to work. But I don't have any set up because this was an impromptu live show, and I've got nothing. My apologies. But hey, it does work. It does seem to do its thing. I know I hate the stand. Let's see, can we use it on this stand? If we go ahead and take the WEP out of there, are we going to be able to use it? It punches right through. Crap. Like, that will do, as long as you don't set it all the way in. But it is designed for an iron this big. Might have to just make a little spacer device, and then we can use that as sits. Will it work with the Unger? I don't think I'm going to retire the Unger, though. No, it won't work with the Unger at all. Interesting. So, the hazards of going to new components. Interesting. Something new. I really do like being able to just chuck that in there. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure that this thing is going to secure a place on my bench. I don't know. We're going to find out. Worst case scenario, I guess we can do a giveaway. I'm going to catch up on the chat real quick, and then we're going to shut her down. Beginners, yeah, messy. What flux are you using? This is MG Chemicals Snow Clean Flux Paste. This is actual MG Chemicals. I love this stuff. It is fantastic. But to be honest, guys, you can go to my store, and I have this Amtech is amazing stuff, and I'll be honest, I think this Amtech stuff is just rebranded from cheap suppliers, but it works beautifully. So I keep it all in a Ziploc bag with all my syringes and all the kind of cool stuff for soldering that for using with solder paste and whatnot. But I just keep the flux in the cupboard. See, I've got enough to last me till doomsday. If you keep it in a Ziploc bag, it lasts a very, very long time. It's a bag within a bag. But Amtech and the MG Chemicals are awesome stuff. But this, like I said, I'm pretty sure is a clone. And then for wick, the Goot wick that Louis Rossmann loves so much. It's fantastic stuff. Again, this is a clone of the Gootwick. I'm pretty sure it didn't come as the proper stuff. This is what I use quite commonly. It's just no name brand, and it works. It works fantastic. I have no problems with it. With enough heat and a proper iron and a little bit of flux, you can just about make anything happen. The flux is kind of the key, depending on what you're doing. What internet upload speed do you have? 20 meg-ish. What a wire just there for shipping. On the, do you mean this one across? I'm not sure. No, I think that is permanently there and designed to actually catch the tip, and it's the perfect size to catch it, if that's what you mean, and make me hate it. Maybe a person could just give it a little bend. I might do that. I recently ruined a MacBook Pro motherboard trying to remove a capacitor with liquid flux. Yeah, that operator error happens. You gotta stay within your skill level. It sucks, but it's the only way you learn when you wreck stuff like this. That cap we were wrestling with earlier, it's I know that I gotta crank up and use a different iron on that and just stop, but yeah. GPU panic. So be it, guys. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it. I think I'm gonna put this thing through its paces in real use, not this impromptu live stream stuff. So far, I'm torn. I like this modular tip setup. I very much love how much this thing weighs, or lack thereof. It weighs nothing. I hate the stand. Not a big fan of the color scheme and the form factor. I wish this switch was on the side and this was a flat top. Then it would be like my other solder station. Notice how my Unger sits quite happily on top of my WEP. Good designing. The WEP is actually better than the Unger. The Unger was, like, if that's all you were ever going to have, great to have this awesome porcelain guide and then the spring up top, but you can't stack anything on top of it. I like this. I like this. I don't... Somebody, I think I saw on Dave Jones's video that it was designed by like an artistic designer, and yeah, okay, well, yeah, that's very artistic, but it's not. It's skinny. I like that. I like that the cord comes out the front. I like that it's a standard connection, the standard industrial connection on the back. Forget the name for that, but I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna put it through we'll put it through its paces and see how it goes. The real test is going to be actually soldering some boards, and we will do that on upcoming streams. I'll set this aside and we will get it out, and when we're doing real work, that's the only way to judge it. Other than this stuff, yeah, that's horseshit. Alright guys, click a thumbs up on this if you like these videos, if you like what I'm doing here on the channel. Truly appreciate you guys. I'm gonna catch up with you. There's new live video, or new pre-recorded video goes live tomorrow at 11 a.m. and then another one on Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Hope you guys enjoy them. A lot of fun. Catch you guys in a day or two. Cheers.